Greetings and welcome to Introduction to Python series at Gwinnett County Public Library. My name is Fernando and I am a Learning Lab specialist here at GCPL. So before we get started with Python, just wanted to let you know that one, I'm a self-taught programmer. So what that means is you can learn it too. Um, the journey to learning code, any language, is all about practice, practice, practice. You definitely want to watch tutorial videos, read books, but really the way that you're going to grow as a programmer is to practice. In this series, we're going to go over the basics and we'll gradually get more and more in depth. That being said, if you want to continue your journey past this series, then I highly recommend you schedule a book a librarian. There's a book a librarian form. We'll have the info in the description, but you can book a one-on-one session with me virtually, and we can learn as far as you want to go with Python. So that being said, let's get started. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to replit.com. And what Replit is, it's a online IDE where you can write your code and see the output. Now, in future videos, I'll show you how to install Python on your computer and also use maybe like Spider, PyCharm, or Idle to write your code in those IDEs. But for now, you can use Replit. You don't have to create an account to use it, so that's what we're going to do here. So replit.com, I'm going to go to Start Coding. And notice that you have all these different languages to choose from. I mean, it's amazing. But of course, we're just going to worry about Python, right? So click on Python, create. All right. So Replit always gives you a funny name for your project. This one's Respectful, Acceptable Intelligence. All right. But on the left side here, this is where we're going to write our code. So just think of this as your Python script, okay? On the right side, this is your shell or console, but really all you need to know is that this is where the output is going to be, okay? So the first thing we're going to talk about are variables, and think of a variable as a container, okay? So think of like if you had a cup, right? We'll just call it like cup A, and then we put water in cup A. Then we can reference cup A and know that it has water in it. Okay, so the example that we're going to use here, we're going to think about maybe like a text-based adventure game, and the first variable that we're going to use is going to be the player name. That player name variable is going to contain the name of the player. So let's do that. So on my first line, I'm just going to type in player, and then I'm going to do underscore name equals, and then in quotes, I'm going to put the player name. I'm going to say Bob the Wizard. All right. Now, a few things. Notice that instead of putting player space name, I did an underscore. In your variable names, you're not going to want to put spaces. You can't do it. You also can't start your variables with a number. And there's certain rules that you have to follow when it comes to any programming language. And you'll learn those as you go. But for now, just know that put an underscore instead of a space. And that's called snake casing, and it's the standard in Python. Okay, so we have our player name. Now, if I hit run, which will run our program, I hit run, notice that nothing happens on the right side, but something did happen. So now the computer knows that player name equals Bob, but we haven't told it to show us the output, right? But we can check and make sure that player name equals Bob the Wizard by just typing in player name. I typed in the name of the variable, player name, output, Bob the Wizard. Okay. So we want it to print Bob the Wizard when we run the program. So to do that, what we're going to do is just do print, and then in parentheses, I'm going to type in the variable name, player name. I'm going to hit run. Now notice that Bob the Wizard is the output. Okay. And print is a reserved keyword, so you can't use that when you create functions. What are functions? We'll get into that later. Don't worry about it. But they're reserved keywords in Python that you can't use. And what print does is just presents what's in the parentheses. Just think of it that way. Okay? So we have Bob the Wizard. Now, it's pretty cool, but if we're thinking in terms of a game, or just somebody using our program, then we need to get user input. Okay, so to get user input, which will make our program interactive, we have to go up here. We're going to delete Bob the Wizard, but we want to keep player name. But I'm going to type in input, and then in parentheses and in quotes, I'm going to choose what I want to present to the user. So I'm going to say, hello. Actually, let's do something awesome. Greetings. What is your name? All right. So now what this is going to do, when I hit player name, then we're going to see greetings, what is your name, right? Now our program stops here. One thing to know about scripts, the way it works, when you hit the run button, your script is going to run from the top down. So first thing that's going to run, it's going to say, hey, user needs to give me input for player name. All right. And once we type in a name, then it'll move on to the next line. Okay. So code goes top down. Okay. So what is your name? Let's type in, this time let's not say Bob. We'll say, I don't know, Sue the Warrior. And then you see Sue the Warrior is the output. Okay. So pretty neat. But here's something cooler. We don't have to just print a variable in print. We have so many different things we can print out. And now what I want to show you is something called concatenation, where you can add, just think of it as adding, really. You can add variables or different data types together. Of course, we have to manipulate some things, but let's say instead of just printing out Sue the Warrior, because again, we're making like a text-based adventure game, we want to create kind of like a bot or chat or something. So instead of just printing the variable name, I am going to say it is nice to meet you, comma, and look what I do now. So it's going to print it is nice to meet you, comma, space. That's in quotes. That'll be printed. But I'm putting a plus sign, and now I'm going to add player name to it. All right. Now let's run it. Greetings, what is your name? I'll say John. Now we'll say Johnny. All right. It is nice to meet you, Johnny. Pretty cool, right? So that's how you can do some user input. Now, when you're working with variables, you're not just limited to a series of characters, like a string, having them in quotes. You also have things like integers and floats, and those are numbers. So an integer, think of it this way. Integer is a number without a decimal. A float is a number with a decimal, okay? So what I'm going to do here is create a variable, and let's say we want the player's favorite number. Okay, so we're just going to say fav num. All right. So fav num, I'm just going to go ahead and enter in a number. I'm going to say 44. All right. And now notice that when I typed in 44, I didn't put quotes around that. And that's how Python knows that that's an integer. Okay. Cool thing you can do with with integers is you can actually do some math as well. So you can do like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division just by using your just using math. So you could do something like 44 22, you can 44 plus 3, and then the output would be like 47, right? But we won't get into that right now. But so what we want is the player's favorite number. So I'm going to say favorite number input, right? Because we want users input. And I'm going to ask what the favorite number is. So we'll say, what is your favorite number? Excellent. But again, let's make this personal, right? So we'll throw in the player's name. So we'll say player name. Okay. And then let's just print fav number. Fav num. Cool. So let's run it. What is your name? We'll say I always have such a hard time coming up with names. We'll just go back to Bob. It is nice to meet you, Bob. What is your favorite number, Bob? And Bob's going to say 33, and it prints 33. Why does it print 33? Because we told it to print 33 here, right? Remember, code goes top, down, okay? Now this looks kind of tacky because if we look at the output, greetings, what is your name? They type in Bob, it's smushed together, right? We want to give some spaces there, just with the presentation. It is nice to meet you, Bob. Let's put a period after that. And then of course we forgot our question mark here when we're asking what is your favorite number. So we can go ahead and clean it up a little bit. If we wanted to add a period after it is nice to meet you, Bob, again we're going to do some concatenation. I'm going to do a plus, and then in quotes I'm just going to put a period. And then that's going to fix that part. Favorite number, what is your favorite number, plus player name. Similar to what we just did, we're going to do plus, and then we'll do in quotes question mark, and then favorite number. Just to prevent the user input being smushed together, what I'm going to do is just put a couple spaces after my punctuation there. Let's do that. What is your name? Let's say Jim. It's nice to meet you, Jim. What is your favorite number, Jim? I don't know. My favorite number is 93. And then it prints 93. You can see that looks a little cleaner. All right. So that's an example of user input. Okay. So now what I want to get into is some logic, some if statements. And this is what's going to allow the computer, just think of it, the program, the computer, we'll have it behave a certain way based on a set of conditions, right? So before I get into that, everything that I just typed in, I don't want to delete it, but I want it to be ignored when I run the program. So you can do that multiple ways, but one way you can do it is if you get in front of your line of code and then do the pound or hashtag or tic-tac-toe sign, whatever you want to call it, that completely comments out that whole line of code. You can see that it's grayed out. So now that's going to be ignored. And just to show you really quick, if I hit run, player name no longer exists. So I get an error. and we get the error here saying line 4. If I look at line 4, then we see that player name is, we got a squiggly line there, and name error player name is not defined. Well, why is it not defined? Well, the code that we wrote where we get the user input no longer exists. Okay, so commenting out can be good in the debugging process when you're trying to narrow down the errors that you're trying to find, or if you're working on a team and you want to write a note to somebody in your code, you can do that. Or if it's just a note to yourself, if it's something that you're working on, but you may not work on the project for 2 weeks, maybe you just need to remind yourself where you're at in your code. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here. I don't want to delete this. So again, we'll just comment that out. Excellent. So back to the if statements. I'm going to create a user input where I'm going to ask the player if they want to be a wizard or warrior. Okay, so I'm going to say, we'll just call it job. And then we'll say, do you want to be a wizard or warrior? All right. Now notice I'm missing something, right? Right now I'm saying job equals do you want to be a wizard or warrior? But look back to line 3 up here where I have input. Input is what prompts the user to enter in some information, right? So I need to type in input and then in parentheses put that. Okay. So do you want to be a wizard or warrior? But now what we want to print out is going to be like, wizards are so cool, or warriors so cool. We want to do something that's dependent on whether they pick a wizard or warrior. So my response in the program is going to be, if they choose wizard, I'm going to say that they are going to have magic points. If they're a warrior, they're going to have strength points. Okay, so let's do the logic. So think of it as just if then. Okay, so I'm going to say if job equal wizard, and then I'm going to put a colon. Okay, I'm going to pause right here. So we have if job equal wizard. Now when we're using when we're looking to compare, right, we need equal, not just one equal sign. Okay, equal, just think of it as assigning, right? We assigned a value to job, but equal is checking to see if job is equal to wizard. A good way to remember this is if we put a exclamation point and then equals, that means does not equal to. All right, so just keep that in mind. So if job equal wizard, colon, that's the end of our condition. Okay, I hit enter, and then notice that Python automatically indents here. All right, this is where is the then, right? What do we want to do based on if job is equal to wizard? So I'm going to say print your magic points start at, I don't know, 4. All right. So we're going to run it. Do you want to be a wizard or warrior? I type in wizard. Your magic points start at 4. Now I'm going to run it again. Do you want to be a wizard or warrior? Warrior. Nothing happens. And why does nothing happen? Well, we run the program and we know that job is equal to whatever the user types in, and then it checks if job equal to wizard, print this, right? But job was warrior, so this doesn't happen. So we need to go ahead and create an else if statement. And to do an else if statement in Python, what you want to do is type in ELIF, all right, just short for else if. And we want to make sure that that's lined up to the if statement, okay? This is just the rules of Python. And we'll do elif job equal to warrior, and we need our colon, and then we'll do print your strength value is 4. Okay, we're going to run it. Do you want to be a wizard or warrior? Warrior, your strength. So let's go ahead and fix my typo here. Favolu, your strength value is 4. Okay, cool. All right, so that's an else if. Now whenever we're dealing with user input, the user may not enter in what we want them to enter in. I'm saying, do you want to be a wizard or warrior? But let's say they want to be, I don't know, a banker in this game, okay? So let's run it. Do you want to be a wizard or warrior? I want to be a banker. Well, nothing happens. So we can do something, instead of else if, right, we can do else. So if I do else, and then colon, so anything else, if it's not wizard or not warrior, what do I want to be presented to the user? I'm going to say print, and let's say you need to follow directions. Your choices, my friend, are wizard or warrior. If you do not follow directions one more time, it will be game over. All right. And then what's cool is that we can actually program game over if they don't follow directions again, right? That's what's so cool about programming. But anyways, we won't worry about that. So this was so far what we've done is we've went over variables, we've got some user input, and we did a basic if statement. So now what I want to do is I want to give you an assignment, and so I want you to take the time to do this, okay? And what I want you to do is, using what you just learned, I want you to write a script of a stoplight, okay? I want the program to ask the user if the stoplight is green or red. And if it's green, I want the output to be go. If it's red, I want it to be stop, okay? And then I also want an else statement where if they type in purple, that's not a valid color, okay? So think about what we just covered, pause the video, and go ahead and write a script of a stoplight. And then once you've tried it, unpause the video, and then I'll show you a way to do it. All right, so pause the video now. All right, so I can already tell that you tried to do the video, or excuse me, not do the video, but do the assignment. So let's get started. The way I would do it, and I'm going to go ahead and comment this out. And rather than doing the pound hashtag tic-tac-toe in front of each of these lines, you can also comment out blocks of code by doing quote, quote, quote. Okay, so I put triple quote right up there, and then I can choose where the comment the comment stops by doing triple quote. So just think of it as a triple quote sandwich. But now all that's going to be ignored, so pretty cool. If I run it, it'll be like my wizard warrior example doesn't exist. So how would I handle the stoplight? I'm going to say stoplight equals user input is the light green or red. Okay. And then I'm going to do an if statement. So I'll say if stoplight equal green, print go. Elif stoplight equal red, colon. Notice that it indents automatically. Print stop. And we'll just skip, yellow, because, you're supposed to yield, but some people speed up, so we'll just leave yellow. We'll just do red and green. All right, so, and then we want an else. We'll say print not of valid color. Okay, so let's run it. Is the light green or red? Type in green. It says go. All right, let's do it again. We'll say is the light green or red? We'll say red. And now it says stop. Okay, so there's your basic stoplight. Now, this has been the first of many introduction to Python videos. I want you to just go ahead and practice with if statements and create new variables and just play around with it. And next week, I'll post another video. And also, again, keep in mind that you can schedule a Book a Librarian, and it's free. It's free of charge. You can schedule a Book a Librarian to schedule one-on-one time, so I can help you with, what you want to learn with Python. And that really goes towards really anything we do in the Learning Labs. But right now, with virtual programming, things are limited. But Python, we can definitely do. We'll set up a virtual session. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just post the questions in the comments, and I'll see you again next week.